Good day, Kushal ji. And Sarvesh Refractories, as we all know, is one of the leading manufacturers of refractories in India. And you have state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities. Uh, and Sarvesh provides total refractory solution for India and abroad for steel ladles, BOF converters, electric arc furnaces, torpedo ladles, lime and dolomite kilns, and more. Could you take us through the journey of Sarvesh since its inception and whenever your family took over this business? And let me introduce Mr. Kushal Agarwal, Managing Director of Sarvesh Refractories. Yeah, over to you, Kushal ji.
So first of all, thank you, Nirmala ji, for giving this opportunity, and a very good afternoon to you. Sarvesh, actually, it started in the year 1993. It was a SICK unit back then, which our family acquired and started this unit back. We started as a very small facility for manufacturing of fire clay bricks, and but since 1998, we switched over to making magnesia carbon refractories. In fact, we were one of the early manufacturers of magnesia carbon, and then we started offering various solutions, starting with steel ladle refractories, then moved on to other areas like torpedo converters. And now we are proud to say that we have a complete range of refractories, starting from hot metal ladle transport to caster.
So that's great.
Yeah.
And, one of your favorite subject is, of course, the circular economy, which requires proper recycling, reduction, reuse, and repurposing of refractory waste materials. So to this end, what steps has Sarvesh taken in its manufacturing facility and at the customer's end to promote these practices of the recycled economy?
It's quite funny. We are recycling refractories since the time when, recycling of refractories was fretted upon. There was a lot of doubts about whether the recycled refractories are going to work the way, the virgin based refractory materials are working. And now recycling has become the buzzword. So all the industry leaders, you can name anyone, very big into recycling. And everyone is now focusing on how to recycle, how to make it a circular economy. So this has now become the buzzword. About our capabilities, I think we are one of the leaders in the market, and we are one of the larger, larger manufacturers who are into recycling, if not the largest. And we have invested a lot of money since last, and money and time both since last 25 years to develop a facility which is capable of recycling all the refractories. Like they talk for steel, that steel is completely recyclable, and there is infinitely recyclable. If that is the right word, I think. So similar is the refractories. It is completely and infinitely recyclable, and we have the complete capability of recycling every kind of refractory which we make.
Right. Okay. Now, moving forward, India in the National Steel Policy of 2017 has set a target of 300 million ton steel production by 2030. And going further ahead, we have targeted 500 million tons by the year 2047. So what are the main challenges which the refractory industry you think is likely to face in order to ramp up its capacity to meet the growing demand?
I think there are three main challenges which we are going to face as a refractory industry. Number one being the unavailability of key indigenous raw material, which is a well-known fact and is being discussed and debated across all forums. Secondly, I feel there is a decrease of influx of quality manpower in our industry right now, because a lot of manpower are now being attracted by other industries like IT and more fast moving or high growth industry. So that is one key concern as well. Third, I think, which is again related to resources, is the is the lack of proper training of manpower, because manufacturing aside, application is a very, very important role in the optimum performance of refractory. And I feel that is where there is a lot of depth of quality training. Manpower are obviously available, they have to be trained well, but quality training is, I find, somewhat missing right now, where we as a refractory manufacturer need to focus upon.
Okay. So you feel skill enhancement is also one area which needs to be taken up for achieving the quality of end production. Besides,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. Now we'll move on to your very important aspect of joint venture. We understand that Sarvesh has recently entered into a JV with a Korean refractory company, Chosun Refractories, to manufacture THC, tap hole clay refractories for blast furnaces. Additionally, we understand that the JV is in the process of setting up a new manufacturing facility within Odisha itself for world-class THC refractories. Now, could you shed some light on the details of this JV and what your plans are?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, just to give you a brief about Chosen Refractories, they are the market leaders. They're the world market leaders in tapol clay. They have a very, very strong presence in this product and are manufacturing since a few decades. We are very fortunate to have partnered with this great company and to start a manufacturing unit in India, in Odisha. So to give you some details about this, we are initially starting with manufacturing of tap hole clay, which is going to be used in all the major blast furnaces in India. Also, we might, depending on how this association goes on, we will, keep adding more products like Raman masses, etc., depending on the association and depending on how comfortable we both get with each other. Also, the focus is to produce and offer solutions for bigger blast furnaces. As you might be aware that all these steel makers are now creating bigger furnaces like JSW Dolby or General JSPL Angul. They're all now focusing on creating bigger furnaces of bigger volumes. So that is where Chosen plays a key role. They can offer very, very good solution for these furnaces. So that is why I feel it is very critical to enter into this market right now.
And any idea how much would be the capacity initially for THC manufacturing?
So we are starting with a capacity of 15,000 tons per annum.
13,000.
15,000 tons.
15,000 tons per annum. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Now, as a part of our Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative and Make in India campaign, Sarvesh is a proud refractory producers to claim manufacturing of Dolomite refractories, which will be an import substitute. So what is the production capacity of your Dolomite refractories at Sarvesh, and who are your primary customers?
First of all, Dolomite refractory, I think, is one of the toughest refractories to manufacture within the refractory space. That is one. Secondly, if you see up till now, there was only one other manufacturer who was manufacturing Dolomite refractories, that is TRL Krosaki. Apart from that, no one has successfully ever ventured into Dolomite refractories. Dalmia Bharat gave it a try a few years back, but they also aborted this project. So we are very proud to take this up as a product, and I'm very happy to share with you that we have already few customers in the stainless steel space and also in the silicon kiln steel makers space, where we are currently serving and doing some, because it's a very initial stage in our Dolomite journey. We have started doing some product trials at various customer ends, and we'll slowly ramp up our production. At present, we have a capacity of around 50 tons a day. That is around 1,500 tons a month.
Okay, great. Now, we all are aware that Sarvesh has the latest machinery installed at your unit in Odisha. And if you could just give us the details of the machinery, which has been installed? And what is your current employee strength, including, I mean your contract, blue collar, white collar, everything put together? And what are the major products which you manufacture at your Odisha unit in terms of number of products that you do? And what are your further expansion plans for the long and medium term?
So as far as the equipment goes, we have installed latest generation presses from Sacni, Italy. So these are hydraulic presses which are of very high capacity and are capable of producing bricks up to 1 meter length, 1000 mm. These bricks have application in various areas like BOF converter, electric arc furnace, AOD vessels. So that is one. Secondly, we have installed mixers from Irish, Germany. They are again state of the art and have great mixing capabilities in terms of both quality and quantity. Apart from that, we have high temperature tunnel kilns and rotary kilns installed in our facility, which for product firing as well as raw material firing. The number of employees, currently we are employing around 900 to 1,000 people in our facility, both blue collar and white collar included. And we are continuing to add more as our capacity ramps up and as we are coming up with newer units.
Okay, so your 900
Sorry,
to 1,000 includes your contract employees also?
Yes, they include our contract employees as well.
Okay, perfect. Now, moving on to our raw material needs, which is a very critical issue. I feel raw material and skill enhancement are two challenges which this industry particularly faces. Now, the refractory industry is heavily dependent on China, especially for MagCap and all that. So, in light of this, what suggestions would you like to give to Government of India, particularly Ministry of Steel, Ministry of Mines, and Ministry of Commerce, to tackle this crisis, to make India really self-reliant or Atmanirbhar as far as meeting our raw material requirements are concerned?
You have touched upon a very important topic, actually. In fact, I have been discussing about this at various forums. And the key issue what we face right now is the availability of indigenous raw material, particularly of magnesia. For other raw materials, we have sources, we have alternate sources, but magnesia is something which virtually does not exist in India. We are currently heavily dependent on China for 80% or 90% of our magnesia needs, which is a key concern I feel with the government of India and the steel industry wanting to ramp up their production to 300 and 500 million tons of steel. It is very important right now that we invest into quality magnesia making. I have also discussed this. If you remember, Nirmalya ji, there was a company called Birla Pericles long back in the 90s.
Exactly.
They had ventured into seawater magnesia. I would say at that time it was a premature project because China was just opening up. China was offering very cheap raw materials. So it was probably at that time commercially not viable. Technologically, it is very, very good. Technologically, the seawater magnesia that is produced is much purer than a natural magnesia. So I feel that with the right incentives in place by the government of India, we can start venturing into that direction of making seawater magnesia because we are blessed with such a good coastline. There are so many sites where this is possible. In fact, the same site which was used by Birla Pericles can also be considered if there is an opportunity. I am not sure of how the site is placed right now. So this is something, if the right incentives are put in place, can happen and can actually make the dream of Indian steel and Indian refractory maker becoming truly Atmanirbhar through this route.
Thank you, Kushalji, for really touching upon this very important subject. In fact, if you remember, during our last refractory conference in Calcutta, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, Mr. Abhijit Narendra, who was there, he made a very important announcement that now refractory industry is being taken as a part of the PLI 2.0 initiative of the Ministry of Steel, where refractories would be included as a part of the productivity linked incentive scheme. So that's good news for the refractory industry as well.
In fact, I would just like to add upon this. I have spoken to various steel makers like SAIL, Tata Steel about this project. Recently, in fact, I had a discussion with the DIC of Bhilai Steel Plant, Mr. Nirban Dasgupta ji,
Yeah.
He was very, very interested in this project. In fact, he asked me to share some details with him about this, which I have, I've sent him a note on how this can actually happen. So
Yeah,
this
he
is
was
something
also
which I
present. He was also present in that conference. So obviously,
yes. So I had a meeting with him, and he was quite excited by this project. Obviously, he's completely aware of everything, so he was quite excited by this, and he asked me to take a lead on this project and see how it can be brought to fruition, how we can fructify this. So this is something which really needs needs immediate attention. If we have to reach where we want to reach, this is the need of the hour.
right. And now coming to almost the end of our interview, my final question is a future-looking statement, I would say. You are a very young managing director of Sarvesh Refractories, and obviously, your interest would be more to look uh, towards what the world is looking at today, which is decarbonization and sustainability issues, which are the key topics. Especially if you look at Europe, their primary objective is to primarily see how much of carbon footprint they can reduce every year. So these are key topics for our, in fact, UNITSER, for their conference, this is also a key topic which they have kept. Decarbonization is the key topic for the deliberations. So as a very young entrepreneur and a refractory producer of this country, what are your thoughts on issues like sustainability and decarbonization, and what is your vision for Sarvesh, for the organization, and how do you see Sarvesh evolving during the next 10 years?
I completely agree with you. Actually, decarbonization is the need of the hour, and you know, being a leading refractory producer, all we want to be both sustainable as well as a responsible refractory producer. And we have taken a lot of key steps in terms of decarbonization, which includes recycling. I feel recycling is one of the big ways to reduce carbon footprint. Apart from that, we are investing across all areas in our manufacturing unit, starting with more efficient thermal units, and also we are now looking into solar projects in a big way. Like we are also into manufacturing of white fused alumina, which is a very, very energy intensive process. We are using a lot of power per unit of WFA. So we are investing. We have started looking at solar projects as well, and we will be investing a lot in the future. I'm sure you are going to hear a lot of initiatives from our side in the near future in this direction.
Uh, and what is your vision as far as Sarvesh 10 years from now is concerned? How would you like to see Sarvesh evolve 10 years from now? Say by
So
20, what is your target
we so
achieved by
so
2030?
so in fact, again, I'm very happy to answer this question. As you are aware, our industry is in a complete consolidation phase. There are a lot of companies, there are a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening in our industry.
Right.
A lot of Indian refractory manufacturers have exited in the recent past, either because of good offer by the MNCs, or they think that the competition is going to be intense going forward. We we would just like to exist in this space. Our vision is by 2030, we should have a presence in this market. We would like to sustain with competing with these MNCs. There is a lot of growth opportunities. Obviously, with this growing steel market, the refractory industry is set to grow. So we would just like to exist in this market, coexist with all these MNCs, and I hope that is going to give us a good shape in the near future.
Thank you. But just to add, this is not a very big industry. We talk in terms of 15,000 crore for this entire Indian refractory industry. Now, out of that, if you look at 100 odd players being there in this market, out of that, maybe only 13 or 14 are big players. And as you rightly mentioned, a lot of M&As, mergers and acquisitions have taken place recently, particularly to talk of Dalmia Bharat being taken over by RHI. It's a very big acquisition. So what exactly do you think are the challenges which smaller players would need to adopt to stay afloat?
So, as a very technical industry, products are very technical in nature. So we need to invest a lot in R&D. We need to invest a lot in upgrading our manufacturing facilities. If we have to compete with the likes of these multinationals, we need to have a facility which is equivalent to them. So that is going to come at a lot of investment. So that is one key area where players like us need to look into. Secondly, as I mentioned, R&D is going to be a very, very important area where every Indian industry, every Indian refractory industry, every smaller, even a smaller player, they have to also invest in R&D so that we can match or we can compete with the likes of multinationals. Our products are mostly performance based. So unless our products perform, we are not going to stand a chance to compete with these bigger players. So I think these are the two key areas where we need to invest.
Thank you so much, Kushalji, for a very well elaborated and deep analysis of this industry. In fact, I'm really grateful to you, and my special thanks to you for taking out time to give us this interview today. And I'm sure the peers in the industry have a lot to learn from you, because I think Sarvesh has created a niche for itself within a short period of time since your family took over this business from a very small company. Today, the company is on a growing phase. You have already entered into a JV with the South Korean company. Plus, you have expansion on the cards. Thank you so much, and we look forward and we wish Sarvesh all the very best. And I'm sure Sarvesh will emerge as a front runner among your peers in this industry, competing with the top-notch multinationals which exist. Thank you so much, Kushalji.